All right. Good morning, everybody. Um, I'm gonna do this last one a little bit different. I was gonna do a whole big PowerPoint of everything, but let's be honest. I'm sure you don't want to sit here and listen to 40-minute PowerPoint on Mussolini and Hitler and Stalin and all that. So let's just real quick. I'm just going to talk to you briefly about these three characters and why they're able to come to prominence during the 1920s and 1930s. So let's start with Stalin. You know, you did some stuff on the Russian Revolution, where Lenin takes power, where the Tsar is killed, and you know Lenin is getting up there in age. Stalin's this young guy. He's rising through the ranks of the Communist Party, and there's this other guy that is also young, charismatic, moving up the ranks. His name is Leon Trotsky. So you have these two guys that are now vying for power. Who's going to be the next one that is going to be able to take over when Lenin passes away? Well, Stalin has he's not this great speaker. He's not really well received by the public, but he has all these cronies with him, and he's like scrapping together these groups of people that are in the party that are going to support him. And eventually, when Lenin dies, Stalin is, put in power. And to kind of solidify his power, he is going to have Trotsky exiled out of Russia. And this is important because Trotsky is really the one person that could have taken over and done a much better job than Stalin when we look back at what Stalin did. So Trotsky's exiled to South America, and he's tracked down by the KGB, and we'll talk about the KGB in a second, and is killed. So Stalin kind of has consolidated power. There's really nobody that can challenge him. And when we're looking at a totalitarian government like they have with, people like Stalin and Hitler and Mussolini, they like to consolidate power. They like to have a country that's one party rule, where there's no elections, or the elections that they do have are, I don't want to say rigged, but there's no challengers. So they control the media. They control, at that time they control the radio. They control what's going to be written in the newspapers. They control who's able to write things. Okay, so not just what's being written, but who's able to write them to further solidify their power. They're going to, in many cases, prevent people from practicing different religions. So Stalin has taken power. He is the ruler of Russia, and he is, he's going to make some big changes. One of the things that we've talked about from the beginning of the school year with Russia is that they are always, kind of facing. They're always behind the times, right? They were behind the industrialized. The war starts because they're behind industrialization and their need to have weapons and the necessary materials to get involved in the war. I'm looking at my screen because I'm opening up something else because there's something else I want to tell you. So Stalin's going to use these tactics, and he's going to say, well, wait a second, we're behind everybody else. How can we compete with these other countries if we're behind? So another thing that a totalitarian ruler will do is they will take power and control of everything. They're going to consolidate power, and they're going to say, all right, this is what we're going to produce. This is who's going to produce it. And this is the number you have to produce. So he implements what are called these 5-year plans, and these plans are designed to produce more steel, produce more food for everybody. If you are put in a position where this is what your job is to produce these goods, you have to meet these quotas, and these quotas are generally unreasonable, impossible to meet. And as a result, he's going to kill somebody who's in power, and he's going to say to the next person, all right, it's your turn now, you have to meet the quota. That's pretty much an impossible position to be put in. He is also going to use. I just lost my train of thought. He's also going to prevent religious practices. He's going to start to execute people who go against his ideas or people that he may think might be challenging to him. There's stories that he killed members of his own family. So he is a pretty ruthless dude. He is also he's going to kill Jews, similar to Hitler. He's going to kill Russian Orthodox. He's going to open up these camps called gulags where people are going to be executed. Under Stalin's rule, it's estimated that between 10 and 30 million people are killed during his time. So you think about that, and I think we mentioned this in class before, but we always talk about Hitler as being the worst person in the history of the world. Stalin's right up there with him. Okay, all on that list, there's 1 and 2. So we have his rule in Russia. Okay, again, 1920s, 1930s. Then you go to Italy. Okay, now think about what Italy faced. Italy gets out of they get out of the war. They're expecting that they're going to get territory because they switched sides. They fought against the Germans, and they are given nothing. And so they're kind of bitter about it. They are experiencing some financial hardships. There's a high unemployment. They need somebody. So they got this young, charismatic figure named Benito Mussolini, who just so happens to own his own newspaper. So if you want to take over a country, it's pretty good if you can control the media and what's going to be written about you, right? So he has this, this large advantage as he is going to move to take over. So Mussolini is, slow. Again, he's gonna come up a little quicker than Stalin. There's not going to be much. The king is going to give him a position of power, and eventually he's going to consolidate power on his own and take over. The difference between Mussolini and Stalin, or Mussolini with Hitler and Stalin, is Mussolini is not as, people who lived during Mussolini's rule probably wouldn't agree with this, but he's not as dangerous as those other two. He's kind of like Hitler's lackey and will do whatever Hitler tells him to do. So his reign is more about, power and being this tougher person than he maybe really is. So that gets us to Hitler, and we've all heard the stories about Hitler. Hitler, rises to power. Remember, the one thing with Hitler is he's not even German. He's Austrian. Okay, he joins the German army during World War I. He's in Germany. He's living there, and he doesn't like the direction of the country. Remember, after World War I, and you did this when you looked at that Treaty of Versailles, the Rise of Hitler worksheets I assigned to you. Germany was crushed after World War I. All right, think about it. They have to pay all this money, these millions and millions, billions of dollars, okay, in war reparations. Their army is reduced to nothing. They have to give up all their territory. So the people of Germany are like, well, looking back, was this really all our fault? We helped our allies, just like Russia and France helped one another, and Britain helped. They helped their allies. They just won. Why are we the ones that are suffering the punishment for what's going on? So Hitler's going to use that as his advantage. He's going to talk and say, well, wait, this isn't fair. And you've all heard the story. Hitler's put in jail. He writes his book Mein Kampf, and in Mein Kampf, in his book, he talks about the Jews and how the Jews denied him a chance to go into art school in Austria, and this kind of shapes his life, right? So that's his bad guy. And he's not in a position of power, but he's slowly moving up the Nazi ranks. And the one thing with Hitler is he is a very charismatic speaker. Okay, we've talked about charisma and being a great orator. Well, Hitler had that quality, more so than Stalin. Stalin was not a great speaker at all, and even more so than Mussolini. Hitler could captivate an audience. So he's giving these speeches where there's at first it's like a dozen people, and as he's giving more, and he's talking about we're going to rebuild the economy, and we're going to restore our army, and we're going to end this depression. We're going to bring back jobs and all this stuff that he's talking about. People sort of say, well, I don't have a job. I like the idea of having a job. I like the idea of being able to feed my family. So they start to buy into what he's saying. And then he says, he's giving these speeches, he's doing all this stuff, and he's waving his hands and flailing all around, and people are buying in, and people are showing up and listening to what he's saying. And then kind of goes back to his book, and he starts to talk, well, the reason that we're like this is it's because of the Jews. It's all their fault. So now he has created an enemy in his country. Oh, wait a second, I don't have a job because of the Jews. So the people, again, because he's such a good speaker, people are starting to listen to what he's saying. They're not really thinking about it. So, Hitler is legally takes power. Stalin, it was, but he might not have been the first choice. Mussolini's given power, but it was all, again, kind of like this whole scam. The president is going to appoint him as the second in command. The president does this. What happens if the president dies? Who takes over? The second in command. So when the president dies, Hitler takes over power. He is legally given power because the president, Hindenburg, felt that if he could, I'm going to put Hitler in a position of power where I can control him. I know what he's saying. I know what the speech he's going to give. I can control what he's going to do. If he's not under me and he's out giving speeches somewhere else, he's more of a threat that way. But if I can control him this way, well, you're not going to control Hitler, right? We know that he's a nutcase. So Hitler legally takes power, and so think about this: at the same period of time, you have Hitler in Germany, you have Mussolini in Italy, and you have Stalin in Russia. You have three of the what's the word to use? Premier totalitarian rulers in power at the same time. You also have a totalitarian ruler in Spain at the same time. You have a totalitarian leader in China. So it's all kind of coming together where you have these people that are taking over these countries and ruling as dictators, where they have absolute power and absolute control over these countries. Because of their positions of power, Hitler wants to see what he can get away with. When we lost all of our land, let's just see if we can get some land back. So he goes in and tries to take land, and all the other European countries get together and say, all right, well, we'll let you have this, but you're not allowed to do that again. All right, well, if they did it for me once, maybe let's try it again. Let's go take more land. So he goes to take Czechoslovakia. And if you do this, you can never do this again. If you touch Poland, then there's gonna be a problem. Well, he keeps taking this, pushing the envelope, see what he can get away with. And it's not until he finally tries to take Poland where they're going to declare war. He builds up the army again, but he's not supposed to build up. He's manufacturing weapons again that he's not supposed to be manufacturing. But there's nobody there to enforce it. All right, so the question becomes, who should enforce this policy of the Treaty of Versailles? We have this treaty that's made after World War I that says all these things that Germany no longer has and no longer can do. Who's going to enforce it? France can't enforce it. Russia's got their own thing going on, so they're not going to enforce it. And they're kind of mad still because they weren't involved in the Treaty of Versailles to begin with. Britain can't do it on their own. They're still recovering from World War I. Should the United States go and enforce it? No, because you know what? We just got in a world that we didn't want to be in. This is Europe's problem. Okay, this is Europe's problem. What Hitler's doing is Europe's problem. He's not that big of a threat. Let's just let it go. Let's just see what happens. And they don't do anything until it's too late. All right, and even once World War II does start, it takes a while for the United States to get involved. They don't get involved until, hello, buddy, until they are attacked. Go. Until they are attacked at Pearl Harbor. There's nobody to enforce any of these policies that they have in place. There's no United Nations. The Treaty of Versailles that gave us the League of Nations is kind of a failure and a joke. So there's nothing to do. And because Hitler is never challenged, he is allowed to do things like the Holocaust. Okay, where Hitler's rule of reign of terror in Germany, between 6 and 12 million people are killed because of the Holocaust. All right, he doesn't discriminate. He's killing people just like Stalin is. We know mostly it's Jews, but it's also homosexuals. It's gypsies. It's the handicapped. He would do experiments on the handicapped just to see why this person might be handicapped. What can we do? Like cruel things. And now, obviously, he's not doing it. He's not doing it on his own, but he is working. So I'm trying to get my son out of here. He is working he has people working for him that are, doing these things for him. And when all's said and done, after everything's over and these people are captured, well, we were just following the orders. This is what we were told to do, so this is why we did it. Knowing what they were doing was wrong. Tormenting and mutilating millions and millions of people. So that kind of brings us to the end of our school year, and I just want to say to all of you, thank you for getting through this. Thank you for doing what you had to do. We had very few, if any, problems in our class. You guys were able to do your work. I hope that how I did everything for you and set everything up for you worked for you. I know some teachers went live every day. I thought that would be too much. And I asked all the classes who wanted to go live, and only one of the classes said, "Hey, we want to do live," and only about 8 or 9 people showed up anyway. So I just thought that what we did was, assigning you the work and then doing PowerPoints every so often to kind of get you up to date on what was going on, what was important, and doing like these short little videos like this. This one's a little longer because I talked about some historical stuff, but just getting everybody involved, and you should all be very proud of yourself. When I talked to Mr. Collins, who's your VP, I talked to him on the phone last week. I said, most of my students have the grade that they probably would have had before we went out. So that's a testament to your hard work, your dedication, and your focus. So great job with that. You made it. So the next couple days, you're going to watch this video on Wednesday and Thursday, the 17th and the 18th. On the 19th, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, this is what we're going to do. We're going to keep it very simple. I'm going to, on your 2 classes that you have, you either have Friday, Tuesday, Monday, Wednesday, I'm just going to post something very small. It's not going to be anything crazy. It's going to be a discussion. And you just have to answer something. It could be something as, I might say, just say hello to check in for a grade. If you have anything that you have to make up, whether that's quizzes, if you have to make up a project, if you have to make up a test, whatever it is, you have those 4 days. Okay, so you have Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. If you make anything up, all right, I can check on Schoology, but I have to go assignment by assignment. If you make anything up, please email me and say, hey, listen, I just did this quiz. Can you grade it for me? All right, I expect to get, hopefully I'm getting a lot of emails because you guys are making up all your work. If you don't email me, it's going to be really hard for me to go back and check everything, okay? Because it's not organized at all in Schoology. It's how it's set up. So please, if you make anything up, just send me an email. I had a student this morning email me 3 assignments. I have people, can I take a quiz? And I open up the quiz for them. So if you need to take a quiz, you need to take a test, just let me know and I can assign it to you individually. If there's any assignments, everything should be open. If you find that you can't get into something, please let me know as soon as possible, and I'll work with you to get that open for you so you can move forward. Again, I'm very proud of you all. Great job. Enjoy your summer. Do something fun. Do something for yourself. Pick up a new hobby, whatever. Maybe pick an old hobby. I started collecting baseball cards again. It's probably going to sound like a loser most of you, but I've enjoyed it. I've had a lot of fun with it. And hopefully we'll be back in September, full bore, and we're all ready to go. Those of you who are thinking about AP next year, I have not gotten any word yet. There will be an assignment posted. I won't post. It's probably on the school website, but that's not going to be until summertime, so don't stress over that right now. And also with your textbooks, don't worry about your textbooks. I haven't gotten any instruction on that either. There will be some period of time, I don't know if they're going to do by alphabet or what they're going to do, where students can be able to go in and hand in material that they have to hand in. If I find out anything before you do, I will let you know. Okay, thank you. Thank you for a great year. Enjoy your summer when you get there. You're a week away. All right. Thank you.